that you do mute your line, and you're more than welcome to unmute. I know we mentioned Lori is going to be monitoring the chat, so you're welcome to put questions in the chat. But we are a small group, so please feel free to unmute and just say, "Hey, wait a minute, let's go back and can you say that again?" Or you have a question. So please feel free to do that. So today, what we're going to talk about is SuccessMaker reading. And I'm excited because I use SuccessMaker in my classroom. So not only am I speaking from as someone who has seen it implemented throughout certainly the state of Texas, but also around the country, but also in my own classroom. So it's one that I can attest that you're going to feel very comfortable implementing it with your students. You're going to see results. Your students are going to enjoy it as well. And I want you to keep in mind every click, every swipe, every response. That is the beauty of SuccessMaker. Every student is on his or her own learning path. So that's the beauty of it. And it does a lot of what I would have done when I started 30 years ago. A lot of that groundwork of trying to find where's that gap. I had students that were in reading, and I knew that that student was lacking a foundational skill. This program helps you to identify that, and it actually starts the instruction for that student at that level. And so where you're able to work with students at grade level, their SuccessMaker is working in partnership with you to make sure that that student has the foundational skills that are needed to be successful. And that's something that the beauty of SuccessMaker, they may all get the same question, the same story, but depending on their response, the program is going to take them in the direction that is needed for that student. So that's the beauty of it. So one of the things that we hope to accomplish today, we're going to talk about how to assign. Let me go back for just a moment here. Some technical difficulties with the mouse here. How to assign the reading program to my student. We certainly want to make certain before we leave that you have assigned the reading program to your student. And then we also want to talk along the way the key features of SuccessMaker reading and the program components, the key features of the program components. So those are our things that we hope to accomplish today. One thing that you will find, like I already mentioned, the personalization, differentiated instruction. It's designed for all. When I used the program, we used it for all of our students. And what I found was that my students that needed the intervention, it agreed with me. It agreed that this student was working far below grade level or slightly below grade level and lacking skills. It also helped my students that were on grade level. It made them more proficient, and it even helped my students that needed the acceleration. It provided what they needed as well. One of the things that we want to do at the very beginning, I want to do this one first before we get really into the program components. I want us to make certain that everyone has added the product to their class in SuccessMaker EasyBridge. I'm sorry, in Savvis EasyBridge. So is there anyone who has not followed this step? Because we need this step to be done, and we want to do it early. Now, I've got demo accounts that we're going to use. We're actually going to go into the demo site so that you can experience the program from a student's perspective. And then we also are going to look at ways in which you can monitor the student's progress through the teacher's lens as well. But is there anyone who has not assigned SuccessMaker in Savvis EasyBridge? Okay. All right. So this is what I need you. I need you to go to your single sign-on. You're going to use your single sign-on and go to your district portal. And Lori, I may need you to help guide them because I'm not sure if it will just simply say Savvis EasyBridge or how do they get into the Savvis product. So please feel free to Share.
Yeah, I would think mostly, I'm
Have-
sure, yeah, I'm sure everybody in, at least in language arts department, probably has it in there. I had it twice, I don't know why.
Okay.
And I think they were different. Yolanda, I had a question about my access. Will I be able to access with the demo account? Because we don't have students.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to give you, yeah, we'll have a demo account, and your demo student is tied to your demo teacher account.
Okay.
So I'll give one too.
Perfect.
And then Lori, we can also talk about later on, making sure that you have admin access so that you're able to view reports for the district as well as for different schools too.
Okay, good thing.
And that's
Thank
something that that we can, there, either the person who's over Easy Bridge can give you that access through that way, or we can just go through the SuccessMaker URL itself and give you admin access.
Okay.
So, so if you are there, if you're at SuccessMaker or Savage Easy Bridge, you'll notice that when you open, you'll see your classes, and you should have a button that says Add Products. And when you click on Add Products, you'll notice that on one side it says Learning Systems, and it will list all of the Savage products that are open or available to your district. What you want to find is the one that says SuccessMaker Realize, and put a check next to that box, and then save. And that's all we're going to do right now, because sometimes it takes a moment for the programs to sync. So once Easy Bridge is going to note that we've added a SuccessMaker, and then we'll be able to, in a little while, and and we'll certainly do it before we end our session today, we'll be able to click on the SuccessMaker tab that you see on the far right-hand side and go into your dashboard. But sometimes we can't do it right away. So I want to go ahead and make sure that we've added it. And if someone would be willing to share their screen, Miss Meg, would you be willing to share your screen with us? And I'll stop share for a moment, because we really want to make certain before you leave that that you've assigned the product, and that you are able to assign the courseware to your students. So first, to get students access into SuccessMaker, it is a two-step process. So let's see here. So if you would, up at the very top, not the Realize, so go up to your tabs. I think it's the next, I think it's the, yeah, that tab. Can you click on that tab for me? Let's see. Actually, you know what? Go back one more.
I don't know if it'll matter, but I'm not attached to a classroom.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
So
it does. Yes,
I don't know that I was the
okay.
best choice.
Okay. Yes. Oh, is there someone? Yes, that would make a difference, because yours would look a little different. Okay. So is there someone else who would be willing to share? So we'll just kind of make certain. Yes. Okay. If you'll share your screen.
I'm temporarily attached to a classroom subbing as an IC, but I don't see it, the SuccessMaker. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, well, do you see the Easy Bridge? Oh, okay, Liliana, yes, she's gonna share. Okay, yes, please share. Okay, yes. Okay, so this is what it, so ladies, this is what it should look like. When you sign in, you go to Savage Easy Bridge, and when you open, you'll see your classes and products. And she's actually already done it, but what she would click on is Manage Products and Manage Products. And right now it's showing that she has found the product name, available products, and she's already put a check in the box next to some SuccessMaker Realize. And then she saved. So that is what your screen should look like. Now, Ms. Rosemary, does it look that way, or is yours a little different?
I have no idea how she got there.
Okay, so do you want to talk
I've just recently been assigned the classes, And I have no idea where to get that.
Okay, so we may need to talk to the IT to make certain that you're able to access, or there is a way that the IT person could possibly do it, but that's the way we would do it. So if not, then we need to contact her. I know Ms. Hester said that you could contact her if you were not able to have access.
Rosemary, do you not see Savis in your SSO?
I do, and I
Oh,
can
you
get
see
into
it.
it, and I can get into it. I don't know how, I don't see the success maker. That's what I'm asking, how to get into that. Because I
Okay.
don't see that pop up.
Okay, but do you have a list of your classes? Perhaps you
Yes,
should share your screen. Okay, let's share
Okay.
your screen.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Okay, so that's in, okay, so let's see. That you went into realize. So can you click on the tab before this one? Let's see.
I was able to turn on SuccessMaker just by touching the radial dial. So when I did browse all content, all I had to do was add SuccessMaker that way. I don't know if
Oh,
she'll.
okay, there it is. Okay, click there. There it is under supplemental. Is that what you're talking about here?
Is this it?
Mine looked a little different, but that might be the same.
Okay, and just keep clicking. Let's see if it'll let you click on SuccessMaker again, see if it'll let you open. And open. Okay, she's there. You just got it in a different way. So she went under the realize, but usually if you go back to your Easy Bridge, you should see the tab SuccessMaker over to the far right, and you should be able to do it. So
I have
you don't
two,
miss it.
and I have two Easy Bridge. I've got one that just says Easy Bridge, the one that says Easy Bridge Admin. And I wasn't sure which one to click either.
Oh, it would be Easy Bridge.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay, but
is
this
everyone, well, I guess I should ask, is everyone at this point here? Can everyone, when you click on your, either the SuccessMaker tab, does it take you to this page? And this would be your dashboard, your teacher dashboard. Okay, great.
And because I don't have classes either, because I'm kind of in the same position as Rosemary and Meg. But I got in this way,
Okay, great.
exactly the same steps that Rosemary took.
So while we're here, let's go ahead and assign the course, and then we can come back. So if you'll click on where it says assign, there's an assign tab, and you can see now, because you added the product to the different groups. So this is the first part was an Easy Bridge assigning the product. Now we're actually going to assign the courseware. And so here you would just simply click on add next to where the classes names are.
What is
And
that
don't worry,
Spanish class?
because it will only assign the primary class once. It will only assign the primary course once, and then click assign.
What is the Spanish glossary? It'll allow that in Spanish
Well,
too?
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of it, because that may not be a feature that you want to turn on for everyone. So right now we can assign, and then we'll talk a little bit later about some individual assignments. So congratulations, you have assigned SuccessMaker to your students. So we also have an update. So we're gonna hold right here, and we're going to look at some things. I just want to make certain that we're able to assign. I'm going to go back now and take over the screen. I want us to go in and really talk about the content or the program components of SuccessMaker. But thank you so much for sharing, and I'm really glad that we were able to get in and able to assign the courseware to your students. So this is great. So now let's talk. So we've already done the first step. We've assigned, and it looks like that we did not have any really downtime that was needed in order to assign it. So let's go ahead now and let's talk about the program itself, and then we'll talk about the features. So we're just going to click through these things here, and I'm going to click through these things. And I want to talk about the usage. So as we talk about the usage of the program, one of the things that you will see by default, the program session time is set at 20 minutes. And our recommended usage is at least 3 times a week, or at least an hour a week. So we're looking at 3 to 5 times a week, at minimum 3 times, 20 minutes. The program by default is set for 20 minutes. It'll time out after 20 minutes. And what we're hoping to see is at least 1 year of gain, or 1 year of growth. Now, we are going to give the students a diagnostic, and we'll talk about the diagnostic here. And I have the map of a symbol of the United States because this is not only can have a core course that just talks and addresses reading skills and strategies, but we can also create custom courses. And this is what we do a lot in Texas, where we create what I call those STAR prep courses based upon our TEKS, and we're able to create those. Now, you're also utilizing the reading program, and was part of the reading adoption. So from my view and my perspectives, we can also create custom courses around those modules and those lessons that are built into my view and my perspectives. So and it may not be something that we're going to do today, but just know that it's something that can be done in the future. Right now, our focus would be on making sure students complete the diagnostic so that the program can provide that personalization for each student. But 3 times a week or an hour a week, 20 minutes sessions. And what we want to see is up to 1 year of growth. So one of the reasons why we're able to do this is because we have this adaptive motion, and that adaptive motion starts right at the initial placement. So again, think of every student being on his or her own learning path. And what you're seeing over on the right-hand side is just the motion that takes place within the program as the students complete activities in the reading program. You'll also see over on the left-hand side our cognitive coaches. And our cognitive coaches are there to support the students, but also to emphasize the skill or strategy that is the focus of the lesson. So they serve as a way to model what we want readers to do, for our students to do, to take in account, to pause for a moment, reflect on the story, the activities, or reflect on the strategy or the skill that we're focused on that time. So for our K-5 students, you can see here the list of strands from concepts to print. You'll notice that spelling starts at course level 2. And usually in SuccessMaker, when we assign the students, we do look at the grade level of the student and assign the corresponding course level. And from that time on, we talk to the students in terms of the course level that they're in. And sometimes the course level that they're in is not necessarily the grade level, but that's how we initially enroll students and start the assessment, the initial placement assessment. For our students that are in grades 6 through 8, you can see here we have vocabulary, comprehension of spelling, but if necessary, we can drill down to review phonics, or we can review other foundational skills as well. One of the things that if you are a middle school teacher, and you have students that are in special education, or you just from other testing resources, you know that the student is working far below the assigned grade level, you can adjust the initial placement. And we want to do that because we don't want students to be frustrated. So let's say we have a seventh grader and the IEP shows that that seventh grader actually is functioning more at a fourth grade level. Then we can adjust the course level, the starting course level for that student. Now, we're not going to change the student's grade level because we want the interfacing to be age appropriate, and we want the lessons to be presented in an age appropriate manner. But we do want to make certain that we're adjusting to that student's instructional needs. So particularly if you're a middle school teacher, I really want you to keep that in mind and consider the students. And if you have students that are working far below, let's say 2 to 3 deviations, 2 or more deviations below the assigned grade level, we want to do that. And this is something that needs to be done before the student begins the program. You can adjust the other settings after the student has completed the initial placement, but any course level adjustments must be made before the student starts. Now, for our students that are in K-5, for our 5th grade students, it will drill as low as the K level. It doesn't do that for grades 6 through 8. So that's why I want you to be mindful of your 6th and 8th grade students that are working far below grade level. We really want to make the adjustment. And even if you have a 5th grader that you know is working more at the 2nd grade level, you want to make that course level adjustment. I always give this example. When I took tests, the first question either made my confidence or it broke my confidence. And we want students to have, a pleasant experience. So we don't want them to start at their frustrational level. And we'll talk more when we go on your side. We're going to talk more about how to make those adjustments for students individually. There are some that you can adjust for the entire class, but in this case, this would be one that you would adjust just for students individually. So just to give you more information about the SuccessMaker reading program, you're going to find that the students will engage in text from beginning reader to a Lexile level of 1,250. Most of the text that they encounter is going to be nonfiction, so you'll see a lot of excerpts from science, from social study text. We also, Freddie Hebert is one of our authors, and we have academic vocabulary activities. As a matter of fact, we have some offline academic vocabulary activities for students as well. And you can see here that we want to make certain that the students are engaging. So we're going to look at the initial placement, because once you enroll the students, the next thing that's going to happen for your students will be the initial placement test. So with the initial placement, and it looks different for students that are in K2 as opposed to students that are in grades 3 and up. So for K2 students, it's a collection of skills from reading comprehension, listening comprehension is factored in. We also deal with phonemic awareness, concepts of print. And so from these different categories, and phonics as well, from these different categories, there's a collection of questions. And if students are successful with 65%, a score of 65% or higher, then it's going to increase the level. Now, it also moves it in quarter grade intervals. So your first grade student will start at course level 1.0. If that student is successful, then they will be bumped to 1.25. If they're successful again, it's 1.5. That third round of testing, that student is not successful, the placement stops. Okay. And so it's going to be a collection of questions from reading, comprehension, to phonics, to concepts and print, to readiness skills that the K2 students will be assessed on. Another thing about the initial placement for students in grades K through 2 is that you have the option to turn on the Read to Me feature. So these students can receive audio support during the initial reading. And if you have a case student, I do recommend that you do turn on the Read to Me feature for those students. Okay, so that it just allows them, the program, to read the passage. Now, for your students that are from grades 3 through 8th grade, this is going to be that Lexile level passage, and they will be asked questions about the passage. They can always go back and review the passage before answering. And in this case, there is no audio option here. So the students will have to read independently. The Read to Me feature is available for your students in grades 3 through 8 after they've completed the initial placement. And again, this may be something that you will turn on only for certain students that you feel need that audio support. We mentioned about the Spanish. You saw the Spanish glossary and the Spanish translation. That's something that would be optional after the students have completed the initial placement. But with the students for grades 3 through 8, what is going to happen as they read that Lexile level passage and answer the questions, it's going to increase or decrease the Lexile level of the next passage. And what we're looking for is where the students will comprehend with 75% accuracy their functional level, and then the placement will stop for those students. So big difference. K2, collection of phonics, concepts in print, reading comprehension activities. Placement will stop once they change directions. Read to Me feature is an option for K2, grades 3 through 8. No Read to Me feature option is available, and it's a Lexile level passage where we're looking to find the student's functional level. And so this is something that will take place. Now, it varies because of the fact that it's personalized. Some students may get out of initial placement sooner than others, so it will vary. Hopefully, I would say what we would hope is that after a 2-week period, all of your students are out of initial placement. And that's assuming that we're doing this an hour a week. So it does vary from student to student, because remember that adaptive motion is in place here. Okay. So once students have completed the initial placement, and this is something that is done automatically within the program. So once you have assigned the coursework to the students, the courseware to the students, this is something that's going to take place automatically in the program. So you do not have to go back and adjust anything once you made those initial course setting adjustments. So once students have completed that, we go into what we call the standard motion. So here the students will have guided practice. There will be a focused skill or strategy that will be discussed with the students. If the students demonstrate mastery during this time, they move on to independent practice. Now, one thing that happens during this time is that during the guided practice, the Read to Me feature is available for all students because that's at the student's instructional level. You'll find as students go into the independent practice, there's less audio support because we're looking for skill mastery. Now, that's what happens in a perfect world. We go from guided practice, we go from independent practice. Fluency is one of our strands. Fluency by default is turned off. We do have fluency PDF files that you can use if you want to do a record of oral reading with the student. They are available, but that's an option, and by default is turned off. And the reason why it's turned off is because we find that for teachers, it may have been finding time to listen to the recording. I always recommend using the PDF files because that way you can do it live with the students and you can give the students feedback. But we do have a fluency component. Now, if students are struggling, and if students struggle during the remediation, doing the guided practice, then we start the remediation activity. So it will either present the skill at a lower level or it will review a foundational skill. And if the students are on track, then we go into independent practice. Now, if the students struggle during the remediation, then you're going to find that the students will get a it will become a skill at risk. Now, when we start looking at reports, and we are going to do that when we look at our demo site, the demo teacher account, you're going to see on the last session's report, you're going to see where students were working. Were they doing guided practice activities? It's going to be labeled instructional. Were they doing remediation activities, or were they doing independent activities? You're also going to see on reports a skill at risk. And what that means is that the program has tried to provide some additional support, some intervention with the student, and the student was still unable to demonstrate mastery of the skill. So that's a warning for you that you may want to investigate why the student is having difficulty with this particular skill. We also have offline print material that you can use. So as you work with students in small group, you are able to pull at areas of difficulty report, the student mastery report, and see which skills students are struggling with. And we also have resources offline that you can use with the students. Now, because it's a skill at risk, the program is going to give the students additional opportunity to demonstrate mastery. So when we look at the mastery report, it will identify all of the skills that the student has been assessed on and their status, whether they've demonstrated mastery, it's a skill not mastered, or it's a skill at risk. And really, it's those things that say skill at risk that we want to flag. I'm going to pause now. Lori, if you've been checking the chat, are there any questions that have come up that we may need to address at this point? Okay.
Yes, yes. Somebody had asked about headphones. Will they be, or do they need headphones? Do the students need headphones to do the program?
Yes, I would recommend headphones. Yes.
Okay. Good. And then we had another one about, I'll go back to one of them. Adjusting the grade level. There was some about that. And it was, I think Rosemary had some, like if she has a SPED student that I guess that is at a first grade level. Is that what it was, Rosemary?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I think
and I'm going to show
that.
you, thank you so much, Rosemary, for asking that question. And I'm going to show you on the teacher side how to do it, because that's the one setting that we need to do before the students log on. And we need to adjust the course setting. We're not going to adjust their grade level because we want the interfacing to be age appropriate. But we can adjust the grade, the course level for the students.
And you also shows how to
Really,
give the diagnostic.
I'm sorry.
It also shows how to assign the diagnostic, please.
Oh, that's something you've done automatically. When you assign the course, it's the first thing that the students will do. So that is one, that's the beauty of success. Once you assign the course, once we assign the course, when the students log on, they automatically start with the diagnostic. And then once they've completed the diagnostic, it's going to automatically take them to the screen that you see on my page now.
So how do I know if I've assigned them to the course, and how do I get that one SPED student who needs that diagnostic to go as low as first grade level?
Yes, I'm going to show you how to do the assessment. Yes, I'm going to show you. When we go back on the teacher side, I'll show you how to adjust it. Because they're also, we have the read to me feature as well, and you can decide whether you want to turn that on for that student too, once you adjust the course level for that student. So, and I also want to give you a hands-on experience too. So I'm going to move very quickly here. And I'm just going to show you, and this is what I'm talking about with the diagnostic. So, we had fourth grade students, depending on how they perform, you notice each student went in a different direction. So that's what's going to happen, that adaptive motion, and it starts from the very beginning. I wanted you to experience the program, but I wanted to take you through the reading model. We're not going to do it for the sake of time, but I want to make certain that you understand what happens here. So for the step one, the movie player, it's going to, then this is after the initial placement, and this is what you're going to experience as a student. You'll see that the program is going to introduce the concept to you through the use of a video. So your students will watch a video on the skill or strategy that is the focus lesson. From there, we go into the reading portal and they will answer questions. And this is where they encounter the cognitive coaches, and they can choose a different cognitive coach each day. And then we have step 3, we go into practice, where they'll practice, and everything is going to focus or go back to step 1, that focus of instruction activity. And then finally, we have print partners. And the print partners are those offline materials that you have access to. So as you're looking at reports and you're seeing that this student has had difficulty with a certain skill, you have resources that you can use with the student in a small group setting. So here's an example here. When the students log on and they launch, and I'll just show it very quickly. We may have time. I want to make certain that we get to a certain point here. The student is reading independently. In just a moment, you're going to see a sample of the video. I want to make certain that my sound is on here.
Synonyms are words with similar meanings. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. You can use word relationships like these to better understand the meaning of a word. Let's look at an example. Only the house's windows were damaged by the storm. If I replace damaged with broken, the sentence still has the same meaning. This tells me that damaged and broken are synonyms.
Okay. So we have the video. And so from here, we're going to move from the video on to the next part here. And we go into the reading portal. And with the reading portal, this is where we would choose the cognitive coach. And we'll choose the different coaches here. So they chose Jasmine as the cognitive coach. And then once we select it each day, they can select a different cognitive coach. And we will then, you'll see that we have different features here at the top, different tools that we can use to help students, including vocabulary. There are vocabulary words that are highlighted here, and we can get the definition. We can have the definition read to us in the sample sentence. We also have the camera there. So if need be, we can have a picture that either is a picture of that activity or illustrating. We also have the Spanish glossary. And so this is what, Rosemary, I believe you were talking about. You could turn on that feature for the students. You could also, in the menu button, there's additional glossary that students can look up, but you can see that we have words highlighted. You'll notice up at the top, the Read to Me feature. This is an option that you would turn on for students.
What if your whole city were underwater after a storm? This actually happened to one city in Texas.
And it's something that they have to do every time. It doesn't read automatically, so they're going to have to select it. We want the students to read independently as much as possible, but they can click on it and they can even have a word. You'll notice we have a text tracker for those students. We have the cognitive coach is blanking. So, and the program will not let them advance to the next page until they have listened to the cognitive coach. So here's the
synonyms
are
words with the same or almost the same meaning. Look at the word destroyed. The sentence says that 2/3 of the city was destroyed by the flood. Can you think of a synonym for destroyed? How about ruined?
So once they've listened to the cognitive coach, now they can advance to the next page. So they have to close the cognitive coach. And then they also have the highlighter feature as well. They can make notes. And when you're working with the students, the help, the question mark actually contains a short video of all of how all of the features and how to utilize all of the features. So when they click on the help button, there's a brief video, and sometimes we use that help. It'll use the help button to demonstrate what the students are supposed to do. And this is particularly great for students in the lower grade levels, to sort of guarantee that they understand the directions and what the program is expecting them to do. We're gonna move on, and I'm gonna keep going here. We go into the questions, and they can answer questions about the passage. There's also the interactive practice features as well. And one thing about with the reading portal, I should point out, is that not only are they going to answer questions about the text itself, but then it's going to go back and actually refer back to that focus skill. So in this case, they have to find an antonym for fights off, and it highlighted some of the words, and they have to take the highlighter and click on the one that would be the antonym. And the practice section for independent practice, and we make it as a gaming-like activity. But one thing I want you to see here is that this is the same activity for each student, and synonyms and antonyms. Notice how it looks for your K-5 students as opposed to grades 6 through 8, where we're grade 5, K through 5, we're doing ketchup and mustard bottles. With the 6 through 8, it's more of a laser type thing that they're doing. But it's the same activity, but we want to be mindful of making sure that we're addressing the students' instructional needs, but yet keeping in mind to make certain that it is presented in an age-appropriate manner. And then these are the print partners. I mentioned the academic vocabulary print partners. We have other print material. We have reading of the target lessons. Some of them are tied to the areas of difficulty report, where you will actually see links to our offline print materials. So what I like for us to do, and we're going to look, and at the end of the day, the way the program looks, this is the progress. So this is actually one that I did, purposely getting some things wrong, but my progress report here. So this is something that the students will see at the end of their session. So it'll do a final minute countdown, so the students know that the time is coming to an end. And then they'll get a progress report, and notice that it's color coded. So 65 to 100% is green, so green is good. Yellow is from 60 to 64%, and then anything below 60% will be in red. You'll also notice that it says skills mastered. So if we've mastered a skill, the program has gotten enough information to deem that this is a skill that has been mastered, it's going to indicate that to the student. So each time the students are on the program, and when they log out, before the program logs them out automatically, it will give them a progress report. I'm going to share my Padlet with you because I have had students to record their results, and I find that this is a good way of having students monitor their own progress, so that they have to record their work each time. So with that, I'm gonna just kind of skip over the fluency, but I just wanted you to see that we do have different activities for the students to do, where students will be able to choose the book that they want to read. They can also choose the recording that they want to send to the teacher. So it gives them an opportunity to record and to review that recording and possibly record again, or even choose one of the 3 recordings to find which one is the one that they want the teacher to review. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. Remember, fluency is something that is turned off by default in the program, but it is something that you may consider turning on for students that you feel need that support. We also have different tools for vocabulary. I've mentioned Freddie Hebert with academic vocabulary, but we also address vocabulary skills within the program as well. So now I want us to have that experience because I certainly want us to spend some time of our final hour looking from a teacher's perspective, but I want us to go in and experience the program from a student's perspective. And so for this reason, I'm going to put in the chat the link, but I want you to see, and Lori, I'm going to ask if you will assign each person a number, and you'll see that the username would be demo student and the number that she's going to give to you. And then the password is SM 2021. So Lori, I'm going to let you assign the numbers, and it can be, don't use 211. Let's not use that one because I use that one. That's my personal one. But from 212 to 240, if you will assign a number, or even from 821 to 840. And so I'm going to put the link in the chat here. So I'm going to stop share for just a moment. And Lori, if you will unmute and just assign the number to everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Rosemary 212, Meg 213, Liliana, is Liliana still on? I don't think so. Okay, Roxanne 214, Monica 215. Did I get everybody? I'll take 216. Okay. Does that work out for everyone? Thumbs up.
And I'm going to put it in the chat. And then I'm also going to address some of the questions that you have here, but I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to go back to my screen so that you can
Okay.
see it again. So
Do you want to address some of the questions that were in the chat right now, or should we wait?
no, right now. Yes, go
Okay.
ahead and put it in chat. I just wanted you to see that it's demo. Remember, it's demo student and the numbers that she gave you,
Mhm.
all lowercase, all together. And then the password is SM 2021, again, lowercase, all together. And then what you want to see when you open it up, you have, it gives you the grade level. So please click on the grade level, the reading grade level of your choice. There is one that says reading, but if you want to look at what's going to be on for your grade level, if you'll click on, it should say grade 1 or grade 2, grade 8, just click on the grade level you will be working primarily with, and you'll be able to go. And one of the things that I would like for you to do, once you're able to get in, you'll select the reading, but you'll see a lot of them. And, you know, what I like for you to do is just spend some time, clicking on the glossary, utilizing the tools. And so I'm going to give you, it is now 9:55. So I'm going to give you until probably 10:05 to sort of get a chance to kind of experience it, because I think it's really important that you have an experience as a student, so that as your students encounter things, and we also have videos available to share with your students, so you can introduce the program to your students and they can just talk about the features prior to them beginning their experience with the SuccessMaker program live. But I want to give you some time to just kind of click and go through some of the activities there.
All right, can we take a minute and make sure everybody's on?
Yes.
Rosemary, it would be demo student, yours is demo student 212 for your login?
I got in, thank you.
Okay, you got in? All right. Okay, I think
Is there
everybody
anyone
else
else that was, oh, yeah.
is in. Yes. Okay. I think we're good.
And it does not have the color overlays. I think it just has that tracker. Someone asked about the color overlays for dyslexia. So
Right.
it does have the tracker, but it does not have the color overlay.
What about other language? Does it support other language besides English and Spanish?
This the reading program right now only supports Spanish. Yeah. So take a moment and let's go in, and we'll come back together in about 8 minutes. And purposely get things incorrect. Now, and I will say, for those of you that, if you're in the diagnostic, and you may possibly be in the diagnostic, we had a program update that was done that began last night. So it's quite possible that you're at the starting part of the reading program for your grade level. For the initial placement for grades, during the initial placement, it will not give you an indication if you got it right or wrong, but you would be able to check your progress. So it really would depend on what part of the program that you're in. If you're doing the diagnostic, then it's not going to give you any feedback. But if you aren't in the diagnostic, you should get feedback about your answers. So this is what the initial placement will look like. I had the initial placement. You'll notice that it's grayed out, the go forward button. And the reason why it's grayed out is because I have to move my slider down to see the entire story, the entire passage. Now I can
Click an answer to
on.
select it. To change your answer, click your new choice.
Okay. And so now I have questions, but notice up at the top, I can click
Back to
go
passage.
back to the passage.
Back to activity.
And before answering the question, okay? All right. And so I can go here, and now I'm changing. Notice down at the bottom, I've got the questions, the numbers appear in blue. And as I answered a question, it changes from blue to purple, okay? And notice it's not giving me any type of response. So I'm not necessarily getting any feedback, okay? Now I can click on the menu, and I haven't been reading the passage, so I'm not sure how much. It's not even telling me how many I've gotten correct at this point, okay? Here. Right, and so I can answer, and then as I complete it, and one thing with your students, it will not let them go forward until they've answered all of the questions. So right now, the done button is grayed out because I haven't answered all of the questions. And then you would probably, as time runs out, over in the left, on the left-hand side, I would see the final minute countdown. So here's my glossary. I can check my progress as well. So here's the glossary. I can choose a word here and have it, a picture of it, okay? I can also click to check my progress. Again, it's not giving me any information during the initial placement. And then this is what I was talking about. The help button will have us to demonstrate.
Read the question. Click an answer to select it. Click the Go Forward arrow to go to the next question. Click the Go Back arrow to return to the previous question. Click the question number to go to that question.
Okay.
If you have finished, click Done.
And so for every time the students do an activity, if they're unclear about the directions, they can click on the help button. The it will repeat the directions. Now, for those Spanish speaking students, you'll notice over on the right-hand side, there will be a cameo of someone speaking, and they can click on it, and then they can click from there. It turns on the Spanish translation, and then they would be able to click on the word or the sentence that they wanted translated. So that would be how the translation feature would work. When the students have completed it, they're going to click on the close if they need to exit early. Otherwise, it's going to time them out. So I'm going to go ahead and exit now. And it's going to take me back to the dashboard. And one of the things that we want the students to do is to log out properly. So once they get back to the dashboard, once they've gotten their progress report, when they click on the X, it will take them to their dashboard. And if they have completed the session has come to an end, then they will log out, and there's a blue teal button with log out, and that will log the students out of the program. So I think for the most part, it sounds like you that you all really experience what happens after the initial placement, especially if it started with the video. And that's something that your students will be doing the majority after the initial placement. We track the students' gains, so they do not necessarily have to, there is no other diagnostic that takes place. It will simply be the program will monitor the students' progress, okay? All right. Okay,
We had a
so-
question. Can we
Yes.
answer a few questions from the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Will it indicate when a student has answered the questions too quickly? That was one
Yeah.
question.
It doesn't necessarily give you that type of analysis that we can see, but you will be able to look on the last session's report and review how many questions they've answered. I always go by to see if I have a happy clicker, knowing in 20 minutes, the student has answered 40 questions and only have gotten a small percentage of those questions correctly. So to me, that's an indication that they're moving too quickly. So we are going to talk about the last session's report too. And then I saw the other question, and Rosemary, that's exactly where we're going to go on adjusting the level, because you've had a chance to experience the student side. And I hope, I saw the comment of someone, I think it was from Meg, that was talking about the tools were similar to what you use on STAR. So I hope you've had a pleasant experience with the program, and you can see how it engages the student and what happens when a student got things incorrect. So any comments from as you looked at the program from a student's perspective, now with your teacher hat on, what were some things that the program did to the student that you appreciate and that you think is really positive about the students' experience the program? Okay, and like we have some more comments here. Yeah, I guess probably the text tracker is probably the tool that they would probably utilize the most. I know someone asked about the color coding, and I don't think we have that feature. I will check, but I know that you saw earlier the tools that we have available. Certainly they have the highlighting feature, so they can highlight words and highlight sentences. So those tools are available to them in the reading portal. Would anyone else like to share? I know, and thank you, Meg, for sharing your comment about the tools. Anyone else would like to comment on their experience, something that you like?
I'd like to share that whenever you would get an incorrect answer, it just kind of guided your thinking a little bit and reminded you of, what maybe an inference was or point of view, just depending on whatever was being asked. I also like that that students were able, and I should say, I had selected the 8th grade level. And so I didn't do the diagnostic. I only had like the student view of a story, but it also allowed students to, once you got to the question part, it allowed students to go back. Like there was a little icon down at the bottom of the screen that you can go back to the story, and the little avatar that was guiding you would say, check back on page 1 for your story or for your answers. So there's more guidance there as well. And I know that that would be beneficial for the students.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that fact too. And I also like it, and you said it directed them. Sometimes it'll actually just take them back to that text itself. And so I like that feature too. Another thing that I always liked about with the SuccessMaker is that they have to listen to the directions. It does not let them advance until they have listened to the directions. And that's something that I always want students to do before they act. So what I like for you to do is go ahead and log out as a student. And now I want you to log in as a demo teacher. So whatever number you use, you're now demo teacher with that number, and your password is SM2021. So same password, but now instead of demo teacher, you are now a demo, instead of now being a demo student, you are now a demo teacher. So go ahead and log in, and we're going to log in on the teacher side so that we can look at some reports, because one thing we want to look at, now that you've had that experience, now what do you see as a teacher once students have completed the work for today? And how do you monitor the students' progress? So we're going to talk about adjusting the settings, but we're also going to look at a couple of the key reports that you have as well. So to do that, I'm going to log in, and I'm going to go back to my teacher account. And you guys are the first because this has been updated. We've had an update. So you actually get to experience the update that took place that started last night. So here, we're going to see here, we've already assigned the product. Now, mine is going to look a little bit different from yours because this is my demo account, and my coworkers have created other courses. And at this point, we're not really going to focus on the other courses, but I do want us to use the demo account so that we can really look at some sample reports. And of course, I think this will help you as you start implementing, because you guys are ready to implement on Monday with this program. Now that you've assigned, your students are ready to, and we're going to make the course level adjustments that we need. Your students will be ready to use the program Monday morning. So we've already assigned the course work to the students, the courseware, but we're going to go up at the top here of this page. You'll notice we've got several things on the home page, from mastery to student usage. We also have over on the right-hand side, the announcements. So you saw that there would be some downtime because of the update. And then we also have the assignments tab as well. So I'm gonna have to click here for a moment. Not sure why everything is here. There we go. But I want to direct your attention to the courseware tab, or to the assignments over on the far right. And we're going to click on the assignments. So I'm going to go over here into this corner here, this right corner, and I'm going to click on the assignments, and I'm going to view all. So it takes me to all of the assignments, because again, this is my demo account. So you'll notice that we have everything here. And I want you to find the one that says reading. and you may have to scroll down, but we're going to find the core courses, and the core courses just simply say reading. There's no grade level. Now we do have what is called the SM focus reading and by grade level. Those are custom courses. The custom courses are designed to help. Let's say if we have a student that we know is but not on grade level, and we want to give that student additional practice at a lower grade level, maybe to review some foundational skills, we would assign. Our purpose today, though, is really to assign the reading course, because that's the course that has our diagnostic. Custom courses do not have a diagnostic. So we're only going to assign the reading course, and we're going to view assignment. And when you view the assignment, now when you view the assignment, we're going to stay on this page for quite some time. One thing I want you to see here is that you have 3 dots beside the name of the student. When you click on the 3 dots beside the name of each student, you'll notice that it says assignment settings. So Rosemary, this is what you would click on where it says assignment settings, and you will adjust the assignment settings for the students individually, particularly if we want to manually set the course level. So that student that may be a 5th grade student or a 6th grade student, or even an 8th grade student that is working far below grade level, we want to turn on the manually set course level for this student. And then we're going to use the slider and select the grade level, or the course level rather, that we want the student to start, and we're going to save. Now, it's also a place if we have a Spanish speaking student that we want to give translations support, we can turn on the Spanish glossary, we can turn on the Spanish translation feature. So this is where we would adjust the settings for the students individually. Now, how did we get there? We did courseware, assignments, we found the reading course, and we clicked on view assignments. And then we clicked on the 3 dots next to the name of the course, or next to the name of the student that we wanted to adjust the assignment settings for, and clicked on assignment settings. And here we can do it. Now, remember, the manually set course level, that is something that has to be done before the student logs onto the program. Another feature that we may want to do, particularly for those students in grades 3 through 8, would be the read to me feature. So we may want to turn on the read to me feature for certain students. One reason why we make this an option is because students that are in teachers that taught 3rd through 8th grade really wanted to control the read to me feature. Students.
Can you
Now,
speak to, I'm sorry,
okay,
can I ask a
adjusting
question?
time. Okay, so Meg, by default is 20 minutes, but you can certainly increase the session length. But just think about, but one thing I want you to keep in mind though, it will log the students off, and then whatever they haven't done, it's going to pick up the next day. So you may not necessarily have to adjust the time, because if the students, well, even for the initial placement may take several days, because the students may, they may not complete it in a day. Actually, none of your students will complete the initial placement in a day. So just simply time them out, and they'll pick up where they left off.
Okay, we have some questions coming in on the chat. Let me, on my demo, it's the manually set course level is off. And did anybody else encounter that? And like, I can't set it.
Okay, so what we want to find is, can you find a student? I found this student because if you look at my screen, and hopefully my screen is showing, this student has not started the program.
Okay.
Everything that I've assigned that student a level, but they haven't started. So that's one reason why It has to be a student that has not started. I just want you to see where it was located, because yours will just simply have a list of your students and you will adjust it. And please note that you're not adjusting this for every student. This is only for your, I would recommend only your students that have an IEP, which you adjust the settings for. Or if you've done some recent diagnostic and you know that based upon that diagnostic, they're working far below, but it's not ideal for you. The idea is not for you to touch every student's record. It's only for certain students. And it's only for those students. So right now, my Whitmore student has not started using the program because they only have been assigned a level. And so that's why I'm able to adjust it. Now, the other thing that I want you to see where you would adjust their settings for the students individually. The other thing I want you to see on this page is that you have a plus sign beside the student's name on the left-hand side of the student's name. And this is where you see their last session information. Now we have a last sessions report, but this is actually a way to see what they were working on. So let's go back to my happy clicker student. I may notice that, you know, this student for the past 3 days has had a score below 65%. I want to know, what was the student working on? So I'm going to see, when I click on the plus sign beside the student's name, I'm seeing a list of the skills that this student has addressed during the last session. Now, you'll also notice I've got a drop-down button here. So I can go back and look at the very last session, or I can go up to 10 to 12 days back and see what they worked on. Maybe I haven't looked at the report in the past couple of days. So I want to see, what did they work on Thursday? What did they work on Friday? Or what did they work on this past Monday? So I'm able to do that. But this, and again, and this is why I wanted us to really spend some time on this page, because this actually shows us, now the report is going to show us how many they answered, what their exercise percent total. This shows us what they were working on. And not only that, but we can preview it as well. So I can look at the skill, or I can review it. I said preview, but I meant review. So I can see here that this student, let's see if I can find one for this student. This student does pretty good work. So let me find a student that I may question. Okay, let's go to Sonia. So when I look at Sonia's report, I can see here that Sonia has had 15 questions as it relates to segment words with phonemes. So I'm going to click on this hyperlink, and I'm going to see what she worked on, but I'm also going to click on another hyperlink, and this hyperlink takes me to the activity. So now I have an opportunity to review this activity with Sonia.
Build or break.
The dashboard. Now, Sonia is not going to get any credit because we're using my dashboard, but I'm able to have that one-to-one conference.
Starting with the star, drag one car to the train for each sound that you hear. Then click Done.
Hat.
So now I can bring Sonia over, and we may do a couple of these questions together.
Hat.
So this is something that I can do. And the way I did it, I clicked on the plus sign, and I saw the skills that she was working on. And I found there are a couple of these that she has very low scores. And I'm able to see that she's only gotten, out of the 10 questions, she's only gotten 2 correct. And then I have the hyperlink that shows me the activity. So I'm able to click on that hyperlink.
Curie
And
and
I'm
the
able
Fuzzy Pink
to
Shoe.
review with her.
Written by Barbara Davis Piles. Illustrated by Charlie Bink.
So I
Click
have
Go
time now.
Forward to read the passage and answer the questions.
So this allows me to conference with her about her work. So that's something that we can do. So I wanted to share this part with you so that you can see, you can review the skills and you can work with the students. Again, they're not going to get any credit. And that's one thing that's really important, that when students are working live in SuccessMaker, that they work independently. Because remember, it's measuring every response to decide what's the next step. But this does give us an opportunity. And then over on the right-hand side, we have their progress report. We're able to print this information and view their summary. So with the progress report, we're able to see our students on track of making that yearly gain. So we have here where they started, and we're able to track their scores. We're able to see that our primary target would be that she is a third grade student. So we would want, by the end of the year, our primary target would be that she's at level 4.0. Our secondary target is based upon how the student performed on the IP. So maybe she was a third grade student and she actually did well on the IP, and she's at a 3, she started the instructional side at 3.5. So now our secondary target is 4.5. So remember, we always want to see 1 year of gain from that initial placement. So this will help us to see if the students are on track of meeting their gain. And again, this is something that we can print. So at this point, we probably are not going to be looking at the progress chart so much until after students have completed the initial placement. But definitely after the initial placement, now, Monica, I think one of the things that we may have to have a discussion with Ms. Hester and Lori is about what to do with those students that speak little to no English. This may not be, because with this program, it may require not necessarily that they are at least at the emergent stage. So that may be something that you may want to weigh in and have a discussion with the district about which students, but your students that speak none, little to no English, they probably will have some difficulty with the SuccessMaker program.
So then to address her question, Monica's question, the translate feature, if you click that on, that translates it into Spanish. Is that correct?
Yes, but not the entire, but it's something that the students will have to select. It doesn't sentence by sentence. It doesn't just change it over to Spanish. Okay. So that's why I was saying, it's designed to help those students that need some support, but they are at least, they're at the point where they're not learning survival English, if you will.
Okay.
So if I may interrupt, there are some students in a different class from what I was thinking of, but that have already acquired some English. And so for those particular students, would you then recommend that we turn on that feature for them? Okay.
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
Yes, I would. Yeah, my concern is those that are just, practically none, they don't speak English. And they don't even have the survival English skills. So that would be students that I would say this would be very challenging for them. Now, that being said, there are certain features, some custom courses, for instance, like for kindergarten, we used to do this because now we have some pre-K skills, but sometimes kindergartners just simply did not have the readiness skills to complete the kindergarten activities. So what I would recommend is that we would take parts of the kindergarten strands, like for instance, concepts of print or the phonological awareness, and they would do those activities rather than trying to just assign them to kindergarten to really do some of those readiness skills. So that may be something that you may want to look at because you can create, like I said, you can create custom courses. I mentioned that you can create custom courses based upon our state standards, based upon my view and my perspectives, but you can also create custom courses based upon skills. And I always found that the concepts in print and phonological awareness were very popular. So that would be a way to do it. And even for your Spanish speaking students are learning, it may be that fluency component, and you can even control that of what you want the students to encounter with the fluency. And that, to me, the fluency is certainly not something that I would turn on for the entire class, but there may be some students that I want them to have that practice so that they can hear themselves, that they can record and they can evaluate their fluency, as well as giving me something to review with the students. So there's a lot to consider there. But I wanted you to, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this progress monitoring graph that's over on the right-hand side, but I wanted you to see, how can I see what students are working on or what students have worked on in the program with the last sessions report. And to that end, we're going to go up to the very top and we're going to click on reports. And I want you to click on the last sessions report, because this is your day one report. When students have completed a session, you want to run the last sessions report. And this is one way you will monitor the students. Now, with the reading program, you'll notice that there were other reports there. Those reports are after the initial placement. This report is day one. Okay. One thing you'll notice that you can certainly do it by groups or grade, or by group or by students. I'm going to limit this just to the reading program here. And I'm only going to, and I'll keep all of these selected. And then I have some to report options. Sometimes you want to, have the program highlight certain things. So if you scroll down over to the sort, you will see that you can sort it by student, exercise percent correct, exercise correct, IP level. So there are different ways in which you can sort the report. And you can even save these options. Like I've saved grade. So I want it sorted by grade level. And so once I've saved it, now I can run my report. And when I run the report, I'm able to see what the students did the last time they logged on. Now, remember that graph will show us other dates, but this one shows me what they did the last time they logged on. And this is your day one report. So we've got a lot of good stuff here. First of all, if they have not completed the initial placement, where it says current level is going to say NIP. So we're going to see the term NIP. And here it is on my page here. Under course level, it says NIP. So that lets me know that this student is still taking the initial placement. Now, even though the student is taking the initial placement, I can still see how many exercises they attempted and how many they got correct. And I'm going to actually tell this student to slow down, because this student is at 60%. Remember, 65 is acceptable, 65% or higher, but this student has answered 30 questions in 21 minutes. Now, within the reading program, that means that that student would have had to answer a question every minute. And I know at some point, the reading program prompted the students to read the passage. So I want this student maybe to slow down. This is what I would call one of my happy clickers. Now, I also have a student that my super student, I'll say, this student answered 50 questions. They're at 74%. So they're well within the range, that 65 to 100% range that we want students to be in. You'll also notice that it tells us where they were working. They were doing guided practice. Were they doing independent practice, or were they doing remediation activities? So that's something that you get in the reading program. Now, if your reading report did not come up, chances are you may have a pop-up blocker. So you may notice when you look on your dashboard in the top right corner, you may see the pop-up blocker symbol. So you'll have to always allow, and then you'll be able to run the report. Another thing that's here is the usage, how much time. And if they logged out before the allotted time was up, like this student logged out after 3 minutes, there's going to be a little star after, or asterisk after that minute time. And it lets me know that the student logged out before the allotted time was up. The last thing that I want to note on this page is the session date. And sometimes that can be very important because the student the student is still in an initial placement. Everyone else is out of initial placement. Why is this student in initial placement? I can go to the last sessions report because it lets me know when was the last time the program recorded a session for this student. And I can also look and see how many questions is the student attempting. So if this student in 20 minutes has only done 3 questions, they're going to be in an initial placement for quite some time. If this student hasn't had a session since October 13th, that could be a reason why they're still in initial placement. So we get a lot of information when we look at the last sessions report. And I always say, let the last sessions report guide you to looking at the report. And I recognize the fact that you don't necessarily have time to look at everybody's graph every day. So, but what I can do is that I can identify those students that maybe I've noticed that are just, the last few times I've looked at that last sessions report, they've had a low score. Now I want to view their last sessions graph. So this is where, when I clicked on the plus sign, this is where it took me to view their graph, because I don't have time to look at everybody's graph. But when I look at that report, I may notice there are a couple of students for the past couple of times have had low scores. I'm curious as to what they're working on, and I'm going to be able to view what they worked on, problems similar to what they worked on, by looking at their last session's graph. So I'll pause again. Let's see if we have any questions here. And Lori, I think you may have addressed the questions.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Okay, so last session's report. Now, I'm going to show you another report here, because this report, I always like to share this report, the areas of difficulty report. I always like for us to run this report, because remember we talked about those offline resources. And what you're going to see on this report is a list of the students and list of the skill description of the things that they are having difficulty with. So last session's report is the report that we really want to focus on at this time, because that's the report we can run day one. This report is after the initial placement. And as we start looking at data from SuccessMaker, we're able to see where students are having difficulty with the skills that they're having difficulty with. Because of that, we're able to see the strand level, the skill description, and the names of the students. So here are my names of the students that are having difficulty with this particular skill. Now, you'll also notice I've got a hyperlink here, and I can click on this hyperlink, and this hyperlink takes me to my offline print material that I can use with the students in small group. So if you're looking at my screen, you will notice that I have got I am going to be looking the activity based upon the skill. I have my teacher notes here. And I can actually have like a 45-minute session. So this could be my small group activity for my students for this week, for this particular group of students. And then I have the student pages as well. So this is one way to access our offline print materials. So
Can you show us again how you got there?
Yes, okay, certainly, I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go back to the page here. Let me go back here for just a moment here. And what I did, let's go back to my SuccessMaker page here and make sure you all can see it. Okay, so right here under reports, I went to the to the areas of difficulty report, and then I click run report. And this is one reason why I wanted us to view the demo site, so that you could actually have some data that we could see here. And so when areas of difficulty report here, I'm able to see the strand level, skill description, and the names of the students that are struggling with that skill. And here is my hyperlink. So the links here where it says target lessons, I'm able to click on the link here, and it took me to the lesson. So here are my teacher notes, my teacher pages, and you can see here, this is more than one 20-minute or one 15-minute session. This is something that I can use for my small group for the week. And here are my student pages as well. So we were talking about, if you remember, as we were talking about the process how SuccessMaker supports the students, certainly online, the program is going to provide that instruction and that remediation, but also when we see skills at risk or skills not mastered, we have the offline print materials that we can use with students in small groups. So that's, so I just wanted to make certain that we look at that. This is, and we're going to look more at this. This is not the last time that we will look at this. And certainly at this point, that report is not available. So the takeaway, the report that I really want you to take away is this last session's report, because this is the one that you're going to be able to run after your students complete their first ILIT set of their first SuccessMaker session. So this is the report, the last session's report. The other reports we'll talk about later because they are after the initial placement. But this is the go-to report. And I certainly wanted to make sure that we look at the report that will give you links to the offline print materials. Now, what I'd like for us to do, and I know we're close to our time, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and log out of your demo site And I want you to log into your account. So I'm gonna go back to the home page because we've already assigned, but I want you to, while we are still together, I want you to log in because we've already done the assignment. We already assigned the product in EasyBridge. We've also assigned the course where to the students. But now that we had an opportunity to look at the program components and look at the features within the program, I want you to go to your courseware and assignments, and you're going to see view assignment. You're going to be able to view assignments because we want to make certain that you're able to make course setting adjustments to students individually. Now, if we need to, let's say we need to make a course setting adjustment for the entire class. For instance, you are a kindergarten teacher and you want to turn on the Read to Me feature for your entire class. Well, what you're going to do is right here at the top is you're going to click where we did courseware, we did assignments. Remember, courseware assignments. I found the reading course and I have to scroll down because I'm on on my demo site. So if you've logged into your own, then you're only seeing reading. So I've got to get to the reading part.
I don't think we see the right screen.
Okay. Oh, thank you. So, okay, so courseware assignments. And I'm scrolling down to get to reading. You should have reading open. Yours should only have reading. Now, to make the adjustments for everyone in the class, I'm just going to click over on the top right where it's top left. I'm sorry. It says reading. I'm going to click here. And when I click here, oops, see if it'll let me do it. It should open and allow me to make the adjustments. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong thing. Click on the three dots and click on assignment settings. So here, I'm going to go back again. Click on the three dots, assignment settings, and I can adjust the assignment settings for the entire class. So that would be if I wanted to turn on the Read to Me feature for everyone, I could turn it on here. But if I only want that Read to Me feature or adjust the course level, then I'm going to click on the three dots next to the student's name, and I'm going to adjust the assignment settings for that student individually. So up at the top left, three dots under reading and assignment settings for everyone. And then individually, the three dots next to the row, next to the name of the student and assignment settings. So I just want to make certain that that we're there and that everybody has assigned. So has everyone assigned the course? Because I think we did that one at the very beginning and you're able to go into your dashboard. So I want to make certain that we're able to do that. And I'm also going to give you my Padlet because my Padlet has these directions on it as well. So a lot of the things that we've talked about today are on the Padlet as well. The other thing I want you to do is when you go back to your home page, what you're going to see, you have some other features, the mastery features here. I can change this to reading. The mastery tab. The mastery tab is really going to be available to you after the initial placement, and you'll be able to see the students, what the students have been assessed on and their mastery status. If they've mastered it, it's not mastered, or it's a skill at risk. And a skill at risk means that it's in danger of becoming on the not mastered list. And then you'll also be able to track usage as well. But our primary goal today is to make certain that you have assigned the course, you've adjusted the course settings, and your students are ready to begin using the program on Monday. Okay. One other thing that, and I want to give you the Padlet. So let me share, because everything that we have talked about today, there are a couple of places where you can find this information. I'm going to go ahead and log out. One is very simple to get to. On your logout screen here, there is a training support called mysavage.com. And you can so mysavage training.com is our site. Oops. Oh, that really took us to someplace. But if you go here, this is one of our websites, and you probably have already signed up. If you're using MyView, you probably have already signed up, but we do have a SuccessMaker web page. Where we have videos, the videos that you want your students to watch as you introduce the program to your students. So mysavage.com, mysavagetraining.com. And so I'm going to log in. And I've already got it saved as my favorites. It's one of my favorites. But we have guides and resources here. So I'm going to click on this. So under guides and resources, you will see the quick guides, the quick getting started. So a lot of our new reports are here, math reports. Our new teacher dashboard guide is here. And then you'll also see all of the print partners that we have available. So that's one source. Under on-demand training, these getting started videos. These getting started videos are videos to share with your students. Okay. And then also the Padlet. And Lori, I'm going to share the Padlet with you as well, so that you can see the Padlet. Let me go back here, and I'm going to go to the SuccessMaker Padlet here. And this is our SuccessMaker Padlet that I have, and it has all the information that we've talked about, as well as I have one that has our reading resources. And so if you put an R right here, and I'm going to just add the letter R, and it takes us to all of the reading resources too. So I have them already downloaded. So this is going to be, so certainly all of the information that we've talked about today is certainly on this Padlet, and you're more than welcome to hear, including checking out motivation. I mentioned about having students record their scores, their progress report. You have a lot of them. We have certificates. I have stickers, just some ideas that you can use to motivate students. I think that's really important, that students are motivated and we recognize students for their success. So I want to thank you for your time today. I know Lori has put in the other document, the other Google link. But I do want to thank you for your time today, for allowing me to share SuccessMaker with you. Please feel free to ask any questions. So again, and hopefully everybody has gotten their students assigned, and of course settings adjusted, and your students are ready to begin Monday morning. So thank you so much for your time. I'll turn it over to Lori.
Thank you so much, Vandra. That was so much information. It's a lot for now, but I think we're going to have a lot of questions, but it was a great start. Yeah, to get everybody started. I want to thank Meg. Meg, I put the feedback form in the chat. Okay, you got it. All right. Thanks for sticking in there with us. And this was a great session. I can't wait to get started, see the teachers get started with this. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I will send you, I'm gonna send you the recording. And
Okay,
I also
perfect.
will send you the links too, so that
Okay.
your teachers will have access to the links. So
Great.
thank you so much for your time today as well.
Thank
So
you.
everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes,
Start it
Jennifer.
now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So again, my name is Yvonne Whitmore, and welcome. I'm the intervention lead specialist for SuccessMaker. And it's a pleasure for me to be with you today. And I'll be working with you all as you implement SuccessMaker. So please feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to working with you. I'm excited to work with you. I live in Dallas, Texas, but I am actually currently right now in Louisiana. I'm actually in my childhood room, in my childhood home. So if you hear other people, just know it might be my mother and my brother moving around and about. So don't be alarmed. It's just them. But they're in the other area.
Son of a bitch.
Undisturbed. I am going to ask